Alright guys, welcome back to round 5 of the GPT here at Nerd Rage Gaming. I'm your host, Andrew Donnelly. With me as always is my co-host,
Mad Dog, Mass Destruction, Medical Doctor, Matthew Robert Dow.
the big Matthew Robert Dow. And we're on to a match featuring one of our previous guys on stream, Charles Martin Jr. playing the Jeskai control list against Nick Zimmerman, a Nerd Rage regular, playing Mono Black Aggro.
Yes, so we decided to bring this deck back for you, Andrew. The
Sure.
Jeskai control deck. So
Love
you
it.
can see
Love
more
it,
of your
love
favorite
it,
cards
I
in
love it.
action as they get crushed by
Mono
tiny
Black.
black creatures.
Mono Black Aggro. Now
So-
this is a deck we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I think it's probably because it's not very good.
Okay,
But that's just my opinion.
sure.
Yeah, I don't think it matches up very well with a lot of the cards in this format.
Okay.
But it's 3-1, so can't be awful. I think it has a good matchup here. Although Nick has a real spicy one in the main deck.
Yeah.
It probably won't play too much role in this, and I expect that he will sideboard it out immediately.
Sure.
It's got some crippling blights. So.
Some crippling, but that's a
Yeah.
good card.
He's gonna lead off with a good one. Turn 1, 2-1.
Yep.
Yeah. Good luck killing this one.
That
Get rid of it forever.
that Bloodsoak champion.
So it's kind of turn 1 Bloodsoak champion. Charles is going to play a turn 1 tap land. Charles does have two main deck Anger of the Gods.
Yes, he does.
That'll do the job.
I mean, this for people who didn't see this deck the first time we had it on stream. This deck plays all of the cards I love. Not necessarily cards that I think are super good in Standard, but just cards that I enjoy. It plays Karanos, plays Dig Through Time. I mean, it plays Jace Living Guild Pack, who, let me tell you, I play almost every Jace card, and I don't even think I played him. Still like him, though. So we're going to see a Spiteful Return from Nick here, which is a really powerful aggro card for the Mono Black aggro list.
And Nick just drew a real stinker. He drew a Pearl Lake Ancient, which, I mean, if there's one card I'd never want to see in this matchup, it would be that one.
Yeah.
So
Charles is going to pass it back here. Nick
Yeah.
takes the draw.
Nick's got 5 power, 5 damage coming in here. He has the ability to Thought Seize also to make sure he doesn't get Anger of the Gods. We'll see if he does that or if he just wants to play another threat.
Charles will lose 2 on the attack from the Spiteful Returned, and then take another 4.
So Nick probably I would
3.
Thought
Sorry.
Seize here, Nick, if it was Nick, just to make sure I don't get Anger of the Gods. That is what he's going to do.
Yep.
We take a look at 2 bad cards in Narset and Pearl Lake Ancient that I just don't think are going to matter. Jeskai Charm, which also is bad. Charles just has a bunch of bad cards in his hand. Dissolves aren't very good when they're used to counter 1-mana creatures. Narset isn't very good because we are so many lands away and we're probably going to be dead by that time. Pearl Lake Ancient, same as Narset. And then Jeskai Charm is spend 3 mana to put my 1-drop back on top of my deck. That just doesn't seem very good. And Nick sees that even if Charles does happen to rip the Anger of the Gods, he doesn't have an untapped mountain in his hand, so he doesn't have to play around it.
He just has to pass back here. He's not in a good position.
No, Nick now can attack for 7, and then he can not commit any more threats to the board to play around a possible
End hostilities.
top deck.
Or
I don't
Anger.
even know. Well, I mean, the problem is
Ooh. Okay.
he didn't have Anger the first time.
Sure,
Didn't
doesn't
have the
have Anger
mountain,
now.
so yeah,
Yep.
things aren't looking that great.
So we're going to ship the Spiteful Returned, and then Nick's getting in for 4.
Yeah.
That drops Charles down to 9.
Nick has a Herald of Torment and Thoughtseize in hand, and so I think we play the Herald here.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves us with 7 power on board, and then we can just bestow the Spiteful Return next turn to kill him. And I think we just Thoughtseize here. If Nick drew Anger of the Gods, then we want to Thoughtseize here, because if he did draw Anger of the Gods and can draw an untapped red source, then we just get blown out. So I would Thoughtseize here. I mean, the possibility is really, really minuscule, but still an out for Nick.
You still want to make sure. I mean, as long as you have the card in hand, you might as well use it, right?
Yeah, right. You have the mana open.
Correct.
I mean, it's not going to happen.
Pass back to you, Charles says. Wants to keep mana open. I guess you keep it open for the Spiteful returned.
Yeah, and Nick knows he has 2 dissolves, so I guess he's just gonna jam it. He can get the free point of damage off the heroic trigger on Tormented Hero, so I think he's gonna do that. So he's still gonna get the drain.
So he gets the drain,
but
drops Charles down to 8.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then
Charles is pretty dead.
Beaten for a ton.
He still has Anger of the Gods as an out, to be fair. If he draws Anger of the Gods here, he could theoretically get back in the game.
That is a Temple of Epiphany.
Temple, slams it, draws.
Nope, there's the end hostilities that he was looking for, but not going to get him there.
Nope.
The mono black aggro list takes it in a decisive game. That was
control tap land deck on the play.
And once again, something we've been talking about is just the fact that if I'm playing my lands untapped and you are not, I will kill you quicker. That is how it goes.
Especially when you play 0 spells that really interact with me.
Yeah, definitely. Very true.
Moving on to the sideboards.
What do we got?
We'll go to Nick's sideboard. He has 3 Heroes Downfall, 2 Sign in Blood, 4 Squelching Leeches, 3 Swamps, 1 Thoughtseize, and 2 Whip of Erebos. So I think in this matchup I'd probably like the additional Thoughtseize, probably the Whips. Although I don't know, Nick's only playing 21 lands. I think we might be able to handle the Whips. I also I don't know if I really like Sign in Blood, but it's like an option. I don't like Squelching Leeches.
I like Squelching Leeches.
I like it as a card, but I don't like it in this matchup. It's just a big guy that costs a lot of mana. I want to be as aggressive.
That's true.
I'm trying to get under my opponent, not play like a mid-range,
The only reason I like it is because if I'm Nick, I'm thinking Charles is bringing in a lot of things to deal with my early game creatures. So Squelching Leeches is a card I can draw late game and possibly still have a creature on board for.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have those cards in your deck from your main deck. You could still have Master of the Feast, which is just a 5/5.
Very true.
You have Herald of Torment, which makes all your guys gigantic.
Yep.
I would feel bad if I had Squelching Leeches. Plus, how many 4-drops can we sustain with 21 lands?
I agree.
Is the other issue.
That's the problem.
If I'm bringing in Whip of Erebos, can I then bring in 4 Squelching Leeches? That's 6 4-drops.
I 100% agree with you there, and that's where I think the deck doesn't really do. I don't know if 4 Squelching Leeches is the exact number I want. And
I don't think. I think he'll bring some in because he has Bioblight. Those are obviously coming out. He has Crippling Blight. Those are terrible, and I don't know why they're in this deck or in the format. I would not play them.
I was trying to think of a reason you would play it, and I guess it makes it so that like you can turn off people's Siege Rhinos was the only thing I really think of is okay, so now your Siege Rhino can't block.
I guess that's what. I forgot that it made it so
it makes it so
block.
correct.
Yeah,
right,
so it's not awful.
Yeah,
I guess it has some. It's not horrible. But I would bring them out here. So now
it's dead in this matchup because what are you going to hit?
So we have 6 cards coming out, the Bioblights and the Crippling Blights. Sure. We could probably bring in 2 Whips, a Thoughtseize, maybe the 2 Sign in Bloods and a Squelching Leeches as have Squelching Leeches as a top end. Maybe we want another land, but I don't think so. We're on the draw.
He might actually, in all honesty, he'll probably bring in the Hero's Downfalls because he probably suspects Planeswalkers.
Sure.
Some sort of large. I like the Boon of Erebos, maybe.
Yeah, Boon of Erebos is actually
really
good.
That's a sweet card.
So, moving on to Charles's sideboard, he has 3 Erase, 3 Negate, 1 Disdainful Stroke, 3 Brimaz, 3 Hushwing Grifts, and 2 Stoke the Flames. Brimaz is for sure coming in.
Yep.
I actually think Erase isn't terrible. It kills.
It kills a lot of stuff.
Kills a lot of the enchantment creatures.
Yes, it does.
I know he's not playing a million of them, but he's playing Force by Return, Master of the Feast, Gnarled Scarhide. It kills a lot of creatures.
It kills a lot of
those in because that's just a 1-mana removal.
You are very
just
correct.
Swords to Plowshares.
With no life.
It's just Swords to Plowshares a lot of the time in this matchup.
Yes.
Do we want Stoke the Flames?
I was actually thinking I'd bring Stoke in. I think I would bring it in.
I'd probably bring it in too. I mean, it's slow, but the question is, do we want Stoke the Flames? Could we bring in Hushwing Grift?
I don't like Hushwing. I mean,
it stops Mogus Marauder from.
It does. It stops Mogus, but Nick is not playing the Grey Merchant, huh?
No, he's not.
No Garys.
So, all right, well, here we go. We'll see. It's possible Nick is just playing a transformational sideboard where he's not even this kind of sort of looks like a transformational sideboard. But I don't know if I even really like that.
Sure.
I, I just try to be aggressive. I just want to be aggressive. I don't want to transform into some slow mid-range deck against the control deck.
Well, and once again, I think we kind of came to that conclusion when we realized we didn't want to bring in 6 4-drops with 21 land.
Yeah, well, he has Usher land in the sideboard, so 24 land and bringing in 6 4-drops is understandable. But the question is that the game that I want to get into with the control deck? Like, are they? I don't even think Charles is that well set up to beat me.
Main board.
Yeah, well, beat me even with his sideboard. Beat my aggressive plan with his sideboard.
Sure.
If Charles is like playing a bunch of Drowning Sorrows or Anger of the Gods in his sideboard, then maybe I'd want to be boarding into more of a like mid-rangey deck to try to get him. But it's not the case. So.
This is the same leadoff Nick had last game.
But the thing is he's on the draw.
Fetch into Bloodsoak Champion. Good card. I like that card.
So I think that is a Squelching Leech.
It is a Squelching Leech.
So Nick did bring in at least one, and he also has Crippling Blight in his hand, which doesn't make any sense because Charles was playing 1, 2 creatures, 3, 4 creatures.
I mean, he can't hit
target
Narset,
most of them. So
we'll see a Thoughtseize come out from Nick. He'll drop down to 17.
Yeah, that stinks because that Brimaz is gone. Which is unfortunate for Charles because that card I think is insane.
Yes, I agree. The card is very good.
Although I guess Crippling Blight stops Brimaz from blocking.
That's true. It does.
It doesn't stop those little 1/1s.
It is an interesting card, Crippling Blight, and I think what you're doing is you're trying to target the Siege Rhinos. You're trying to target the Inoffenses.
I think that's a good
targets
point.
down a lot of Abzan creatures.
Yeah, but in this matchup, it just seems
it's not that good.
So I don't think this is I don't know what the other white card is that has a little bit of glare on it. I think it might be an Erase.
Potentially? Or is that... Oh, I see. Bramage, Jeskai Turn, Dissolve.
Agnostic Sphinx Plains white card.
Yeah, I can't quite see the white card either. But hopefully we'll see.
I would just snap take Brimaz. I mean, he can cast it next turn.
I think
he does have Hero's Downfall in 3rd land, though, so there's that where it's like, I don't care.
But wouldn't you just take the Bramage so on turn 3 you can cast your Master of the Feast and put a 5/5 into play? I mean, don't you want your 5/5 to just...
No, not necessarily, because then my opponent just, like, draw a step, puts it on top, like, they get a card, Jeskai Charm.
Oh, I see, sure. Yeah, but then they're wasting their mana on their turn.
It doesn't matter. No, like, they're doing it on my draw step.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, sure.
I might have actually just, so he's going to take the Brimaz. It's the best card in the hand.
It's a good pick.
But he does have the removal spell, which is why Nick thought about it for so long, because he has a card that's not very good in this matchup in Downfall, and he could have used it.
There we go.
So, Charles on the... there's a river between my Battlefield Forge and Shivan Reef and Basic Plains.
Dude, lands are separate.
So, Nick draws a whip, and he's going to bash for 2.
Actually, you know what? That's something we didn't really think about when we were talking about the whip leeches. If my leeches die, late game I can whip them back. I mean, granted, Charles is packing a lot of erases, but you whip it back late game, it's a huge creature.
Yeah. It's true.
I don't
know.
It's an interesting.
I just don't be playing 4-drops against a deck that has end hostilities and stuff like that.
Well, there's your Master of Feast.
So this would be. I think it would be incorrect here to erase this. He can't dissolve it. So there's a
dig through time. That's not the card you really want to see right now.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna. This Master of Feast is gonna die to an upkeep or whenever the trigger happens. Erase. So draw my card.
One step, draw, step, all draw.
Yeah.
There we go. Nice erase. What did he draw? Did he get a land?
I don't think so. He
got a Disdainful Strike.
He has a Disdainful Strike too, which is like Nick is not going to play around this card, and he's going to
might not see it coming. Is he going to play the whip or the leeches first?
He's going to play the leeches.
I don't Disdainful Strike. I don't do that.
Disdainful Strike is a 4/4.
In a deck where I have end hostilities, I mean, I guess I am missing mana drops.
Yeah.
So
and I don't have an end hostilities in hand.
So Charles will go down to 13 because he had to pay the Shivan Reef for your Disdainful Stroke. Would I rather have Disdainful Stroke the whip? Because now he's whipping.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, that's a hard. It's just I don't think that's a call you can make.
No.
No.
Boy, he needs to hit land. Is what he needs.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty mana screwed here.
He can't even get the dig out.
Nick's hand isn't very good though. If Charles did have an answer for this whip, which he doesn't, I think Charles is actually in a pretty good position. But I think he's probably even still is whip that great? Nick has one Squelching Leeches in his graveyard.